Hello, my dear students, and welcome back to yet another session of chemistry. We are learning the lesson biomolecules, and so far we have learned about some of the biomolecules like carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, enzymes, nucleic acid, right? In the last few sessions, we have seen what are carbohydrates and we have learned about the molecule glucose. Okay, we have seen how carbohydrates are classified, what are the different experimental evidences for the structure of glucose. Today, we'll be starting with what is glycosidic linkages and we'll be starting with proteins also in detail. Before we start with, let's revise what we have done in the last session. Well, yesterday I told you that the structure of glucose is in this manner, right? So what is happening in this reaction is the structure is being converted, right? The OH group which is present on the fifth carbon goes and attaches on this carbon, right? And you will get the OH group either to the left hand side or towards the right hand side. If the OH is on the right hand side, we call it as alpha D glucose. I repeat, if the group is on the right hand side, we call it as alpha D glucose. And here I told you to remember that the D should be capital. When we talk about small d, it tells you the orientation, whether it rotates the plane of polarized light to right or left. But here we talk about is of capital D and capital L. Okay, so if the OH group is towards the left hand side, you will write it as L glucose, right? And the signs I have told you. Now converting the structures, what I told you that whatever groups are present towards the right hand side would be coming down in this structure, right? From Fischer to Howard structure, when we convert Fischer structure of glucose to Howard structure, the structures, the groups which are present on the right hand side. For example, you can see the OH on the second carbon, the OH is written over here, right? Then you have the OH over here, then you should have an H over here, then OH and H and CH to OH. In this way, we have converted the Fischer projection to the Howard projection formula. Well, today we'll be learning about the glycosidic linkage. So what is glycosidic linkage? We'll be learning today. And then we'll also be talking about the different disaccharides. Okay, we'll be talking about different disaccharides. Okay, so what is glycosidic linkage and which disaccharides we are going to learn over here is starch, maltose and lactose. Here you need to remember the linkages, right? Now what is disaccharide? Okay, disaccharides give rise to two units of same or different monosaccharides on hydrolysis with dilute acids or specific enzymes. The anomeric carbon, yesterday I told you the first carbon, there is difference in the orientation of the first carbon. So that carbon is known as the anomeric carbon. So the anomeric carbon atom of one of the monosaccharide molecule in a disaccharide is bonded to a carbon atom of another monosaccharide molecule through a oxygen atom, and this bonding, such a linkage, dear students, between two monosaccharide molecules through an oxygen atom is known as glycosidic linkage. Linkage between two monosaccharide molecules. On the screen, you can see two structures, alpha D glucose and glucose structure, right? So there is a linkage between two monosaccharide molecule, and where is the linkage? The linkage is through an oxygen atom, and that particular linkage is known as the glycosidic linkage. So the one which is highlighted with the red, that linkage is alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond or linkages. So now we are going to learn about the most common disaccharides like sucrose, maltose, and lactose. Sucrose we have seen in the beginning only, in the methods of preparation of glucose, right? From sucrose we have obtained glucose. Now we'll be going in detail about the structure. So sucrose, the molecular formula for which is C12H22O11. Okay. So sucrose, students, is a dextrorotatory on hydrolysis with acid or an enzyme called invertase. It will give you an equimolar mixture of D plus glucose and D minus fructose. So sucrose on hydrolysis with an enzyme called as invertase will give you two molecules, that is glucose and fructose. The molecular formula for both is same, just the structural formula differs. Okay. Now, as I told you that sucrose is dextrorotatory, right? Sucrose is dextrorotatory, but what happens in this case is there is inversion which is taking place. See, since the lever rotation of fructose is minus 92.40 is large than dextrorotation of glucose. The dextrorotation of glucose is 52.70. The hydrolysis product has net levo rotation. Okay, hence the hydrolysis of sugar is also called inversion of sucrose. So sucrose on hydrolysis, there is inversion which is taking place and the product is called as the invert sugar. Now why it is called invert sugar, dear students? Because sucrose initially was dextrorotatory, right? But now due to fructose, which is levorotatory, and it is larger in amount, larger, hence the hydrolysis product of sucrose is called inversion of sugar and the product is called as invert sugar. Now we look on the structure of the molecule, right? Yes. So structure of sucrose contain a glycosidic linkage. Now where is this glycosidic linkage? You need to remember these points. Carbon 1 of alpha glucose and carbon number 2 of beta fructose. So this particular portion, here you have the glycosidic linkage. So where exactly it is? In between carbon number 1 of alpha D glucose. See, this particular position is carbon number 1 of alpha D glucose and this is your carbon number 2 of beta fructose. Now, for the bond to form or the linkage to take place, these both groups should be in front of each other. So, what is happening is the structure of beta D fructose is inverted over here and you will get the structure of, you'll get the formation of glycosidic linkage, that is alpha beta 1 2 glycosidic linkage. Now I'll just show you the difference. See here in beta D fructose, when we flip it, right, when we turn it over here to make the two structures come in front of each other, what is happening is the groups are interchanged in this structure, right? Okay, and between these two groups, what is formed is a glycosidic linkage, which is in between alpha, beta, 1, 2 glycosidic linkage. Right, now we have talked about sucrose, and I told you sucrose is also called as invert sugar, and it is made up of two monosaccharides, that is D plus glucose and D minus fructose. You need to remember the structure of glucose and fructose and even the linkages. Now we talk about yet another disaccharide, that is maltose. Now how is maltose formed? The molecular formula for maltose is C12H22O11. Is a disaccharide made up of 2 units of D-glucose. See, this is the maltose is made up of 2 units of glucose only. Okay, the glycosidic bond in maltose is formed between C1 of 1 glucose ring and C4 of another. So the glycosidic linkage in this is in between C1 of one glucose ring and C4 of the other. Okay. The glucose ring, which uses its hydroxyl group at C1, is alpha glucopyranose. Hence, the linkage is also called as alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. And maltose, it is a reducing sugar. Okay, maltose gives glucose and hydrolysis with dilute acids or the enzyme maltase. Now let's look into the structure. I told you that maltose, it is made up of two units of the same monosaccharide, that is glucose, and the glycosidic linkage lies where? Carbon number 1 of alpha D glucose and carbon number 4 of alpha D glucose. So this particular position is carbon number 1 of one glucose molecule, and this is the fourth position of another glucose molecule, and you have a glycosidic linkage present in between this 2. Okay, so this is alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond. Here you need to remember that the first position, it is free. So it is known as a reducing sugar. So maltose is a reducing sugar and the glycosidic linkage is between carbon number 1 of alpha D glucose and carbon number 4 of another alpha D glucose molecule. So that was of maltose. Now the next disaccharide we are going to learn is lactose, and lactose you all know is milk sugar, right? And it is formed, how it is formed? By two monosaccharides units. Yes, we are learning disaccharide, so you'll be having two monosaccharide units which are joining by a glycosidic linkage. So lactose, dear students, it is formed by D galactose and D glucose. लॅक्टोज कसा फॉर्म होतोय? डी गॅलक्टोज आणि डी ग्लुकोजच्या glycosidic linkage. The glycosidic linkage is formed between carbon number 1 of beta D galactose and carbon number 4 of glucose. As we have learned in maltose, दोन्ही कुठले ग्रुप्स होते? ग्लुकोजेस होते. लॅक्टोज मध्ये आता you have carbon number 1 of beta D galactose and carbon number 4 of glucose. मग आपल्याला इथे काय लक्षात ठेवायचे? तिन्ही डायसॅक्राइड्स मध्ये linkages of the two monosaccharides. So in lactose it is carbon number 1 of beta D galactose and carbon number 4 of glucose. Very good. Therefore the linkage in lactose is called beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. The linkage is known as beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. Very good. The hemiacetyl group at C1 of glucose unit is not involved in glycose linkage, but it is free. And hence, if it is free, okay, the first carbon is free, then we call it as a reducing sugar. So, dear students, lactose is also a reducing sugar. So, the glycosidic linkage is between beta D galactose first carbon and between the fourth carbon of beta D glucose, and this particular linkage, dear students, is known as beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. Now in this the difference is we are having a monosaccharide called as galactose. आता galactoseचा जो structure आहे that is same like glucose. You can compare it is same like glucose. Just on the fourth position you have one OH group on the upper side. So this is the only difference between galactose. So I hope you remember the linkage and you remember which are the reducing sugars and non-reducing sugars. Okay. So that was all about carbohydrates. Now we move on to yet another important compound or biomolecule, that is proteins. Yes, students, proteins are very essential, and proteins in the forms of enzymes, they play a primary role in all the physiological reactions that are taking place within us. Proteins are the fundamental structural material of animal bodies. So the nutritional sources of protein, you all know what are the sources of proteins. Milk, pulses, meat, fish, etc. are the sources of proteins. Now exactly what are proteins made up of, that we are going to learn. Then we are going to discuss about the structures of proteins also. So chemically, proteins are polyamides, which are high molecular weight polymers of the monomeric units called alpha amino acid. Yes. So what are proteins? Proteins are chemical, they are polyamides, which are high molecular weight polymers of the monomeric units called alpha amino acid. Now we will see the structure of, or what are amino acid. How many amino acids are there? How are amino acids classified? Right. First, we'll look at the structure of amino acid. Once you understand the structure, it would be easier for you. So, this is the structure of amino acid. Okay. Proteins on complete hydrolysis give rise to a mixture of alpha amino acid. Alpha amino acids are carboxylic acids having an amino group bonded to alpha carbon, that is the carbon next to carboxyl group. So you can see in the structure of amino acid you have a minor terminal, a carbonyl functional group, a hydrogen and a R group. Now dear students, this R can change. Okay, the symbol R in the structure of alpha amino acid represents side chain and may contain additional functional groups. So depending upon the R group, the name of the amino acid changes. If instead of a R you have an H over here, it would be glycine, alanine, valine, leucine, and so on. So if the R group changes, the name of the amino acid would change. So it is found that the alpha carbon in alpha amino acid obtained by hydrolysis of protein has L configuration. So the L alpha amino acids are represented in such a form. So this is represented as L alpha amino acid having an amino terminal, a R group, H, and a carbonyl group. Okay, so if the R changes, the name of the amino acid would be changed. Now we look on to the classification of amino acids. आता अमाइनो ऍसिड जे आहेत ते तीन प्रकारे आपण क्लासिफाय करू शकतो. बेसिक, ऍसिडिक अँड न्यूट्रल अमाइनो ऍसिड. Basic, acidic and neutral. Now what are neutral amino acids? Amino acids having equal number of amino and कार्बोक्सिलिक ग्रुप. अमाइनो आणि कार्बोक्सिलिक ग्रुप जर इक्वल अमाउंट मध्ये आहे तर दोन्ही बॅलन्स होतं. सो दे आर नोन ॲज न्यूट्रल अमाइनो ऍसिड. जर अमाइनो आणि कार्बोक्सिलिक ग्रुप इक्वल अमाउंट मध्ये आहे तर अशा अमाइनो ऍसिड्सला आपण काय म्हणतो? न्यूट्रल अमाइनो ऍसिड्स. Whereas dear students, if amino groups are more in number, the amino group is more in number than the carboxylic group, then the amino acid is termed as basic. जर amino NH2 group जर जास्त आहे तर त्या अमाइनो ऍसिड्सला आपण काय म्हणतो? बेसिक अमाइनो ऍसिड. मग त्याच्या उलट जर कार्बोक्सिलिक ग्रुप इज मोर इन नंबर देन अमाइनो ग्रुप, then that amino acid is known as acidic amino acid. Two more things are there. Some are essential amino acid, some are non-essential amino acids. Essential म्हणजे काय? Those amino acids which cannot be synthesized by the body. आपली बॉडी त्यांना सिंथेसाइज करू शकत नाही, and they are supplied to the diet, and so they are known as essential amino, कारण की आम्हाला त्याची गरज असते. So we call it as essential amino acids, and the amino acids which are synthesized by the body are non-essential because our body can synthesized. So this was the classification of amino acids. Okay. Then I told you that if the H instead of R group, if you have H, it is known as glycine. Instead of that R, you have CH3, call it aniline, and there are three letter symbols for this. No need of going into detail. You can remember the first four: glycine, alanine, valine, and leucine. Okay, so if the R group instead of that R you have an H, that particular will be known as glycine, written by a three letter symbol Gl, and in one letter it is represented as G. For aniline, instead of H you will have CH3 and it would be written as ALA, and the letter symbol will be A. Now we talk about what are Zwitter ions. Okay, this question can come for 2 marks, that is, what are Zwitter ions? Now students, amino acids, they are crystalline, colorless, water soluble, non-volatile, high melting solids. These amino acids, in their aqueous solution, they behave like salts due to the presence of what? Both acidic and basic group in the same molecule. आपण आत्ताच पाहिलं की अमायनो ऍसिड मध्ये ऍसिडिक आणि बेसिक असे दोन्ही ग्रुप एका स्ट्रक्चर मध्ये आहेत. Such a double charge group ion is known as a Zwitter ion since it has double charges. Plus ही आहे आणि minus ही आहे. Okay, so the lone pair will go and attach over here and you'll get NH3. Such molecules, okay, which behaves both as acidic and basic, such molecules or such amino acids, they are termed as Zwitter ions. Such ions are called as Zwitter ions, that is, they behave like salts due to the presence of both acidic and basic group in the same molecule. म्हणून त्यांना आपण काय म्हणतो? Zwitter ion. This question can come for 2 marks. Okay. Now we will talk about something which is known as a peptide bond. And how is this peptide bond formed? Proteins are known to break down into peptide in stomach and duodenum under the influence of a enzyme known as pepsin, being one of them which is secreted by the stomach. Polypeptides are further broken down to alpha amino acids. This implies that proteins are formed by connecting alpha amino acids to each other. This tells you that proteins, how are they made? That amino acid, one amino acid joins with the other, to the other, to the other, and this joining forms a peptide. And how does this peptide bond? With the bond that connects alpha amino acid to each other, one alpha amino acid to other, to the other, to the other, and this is done by a bond known as the पेप्टाइड बॉन्ड. आता पेप्टाइड बॉन्ड वरती पण क्वेश्चन येतो पेपरला आणि हा पेप्टाइड बॉन्ड कसा होतोय ते बघूया. आता स्क्रीन वरती दोन स्ट्रक्चर दिलेले आहेत अमायनो ऍसिडचे, एक आहे ग्लायसिन आणि एक आहे ॲलिनिन. ओके, हा जो अमायनो ऍसिडचा जनरल स्ट्रक्चर तुम्हाला दाखवला होता, इट्स द सेम स्ट्रक्चर. इन्स्टेड ऑफ आर यू हॅव वन एच अँड हिअर यू हॅव अ CH3. ग्लायसिन आणि ॲलिनिन दोन्ही कंबाईन होऊन तुम्हाला ग्लायकोसिडिक बॉन्ड भेटत आहे. तो कसा? लिंकेज ऑफ मॉलिक्यूल ऑफ ग्लायसिन विथ दॅट ऑफ ॲलिनिन. One way of doing this is to combine carboxylic group of glycine with amino group of alanine. This results in elimination of water molecule and formation of dipeptide called glycoalanine. Okay, so what is happening? Glycine is a molecule. You can see this is glycine and this is your alanine molecule. आता ह्याच्यातून what is removed is H2O is removed. This H2 and one O is removed. So you will get CO. This is your CO, right? CO and this is your NH because H2O बरोबर ह्याच्यातला एक H गेलेला आहे. हा जो बॉन्ड फॉर्म होत आहे the removal of water molecule is known as peptide bond. ओके, आता हा पेप्टाइड दोनच अमायनो ऍसिड जॉईन झाल्यावर होतोय का? नाही. इफ अ थर्ड अमायनो ऍसिड इज जॉईन इट वुड फॉर्म डायपेप्टाइड. आणखीन एक आला तर ट्राय अँड सो ऑन. इट कॅन फॉर्म n number of peptide bonds and such bonds are known as polypeptide bond. अमायनो टर्मिनल आणि कार्बोक्सिलिक टर्मिनल मधून वॉटर मॉलिक्यूल बाहेर पडून जो बॉन्ड बनतो that bond is known as peptide bond and you can form n number of peptide di, tri, tetra, so on till polypeptide bonds. Okay, so this is what is known as peptide bond. Now, what are the types of proteins? See, there are two types of proteins given, globular proteins and fibrous proteins. आता globular proteins काय हे पण 2 मार्काला विचारू शकतात. Globular protein have spherical shape, spear सारखा त्याचा शेप असतो. This shape result from coiling around of the polypeptide. Polypeptide chain ची काय होते इथे? Coiling होत आहे. Globular proteins are usually soluble in water. Globular protein जे असतात ते water soluble आहेत. Example is insulin, egg albumin, serum albumin, etc. So globular protein has spherical shape and they are usually soluble in water. Whereas fibrous proteins, now fibrous proteins, these molecules of fibrous protein have elongated rod shape. They are long rod shaped structure. This shape is the result of holding the polypeptide chain of protein parallel to each other. Why is this shape? Because the proteins are held parallel to each other. Hydrogen bonds and disulfide bonds are responsible for this shape. Fibrous proteins are insoluble in water. For example, your hair, okay, keratin, nails, etc. They are insoluble in water, right? They are hard protein. So the shape of protein molecules are the result of 4-level structures of protein. Why do a particular protein gets that shape? Why it is globular? Why it is fibrous? Because of the structural levels of the protein, due to the structure of protein. Now there are primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary structures of protein, but for this year they have emphasized on primary structure of protein, so we'll talk only about primary structure of protein. Okay, now what is the structure of protein, and in that we are going to talk about the primary structure of protein. Proteins are responsible for a variety of functions in organism. We know proteins are very essential and they are required for variety of functions in organism. Proteins of hair, muscles, skin give shape to the structure, while enzymes are proteins which catalyzes physiological reactions. Okay, these diverse functions of proteins can be understood by studying the 4 structures of protein. The 4 structures of protein are primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary. Here we are just going to see the primary structure. And how is the primary structure formed? Primary structure of protein is the sequence of constituent alpha amino acid residue linked by a peptide. The sequence by which each amino acid are linked, this forms a primary structure of protein. Any change in this sequence, okay, मी next slide मध्ये दाखवणार आहे की हा झाला एक अमायनो ऍसिड, दिस इज द अदर, दिस इज द थर्ड. तर मग हा पहिला स्ट्रक्चर जर ॲलेनिनचा आहे यू राईट ALE, ग्लायसिनचा आहे यू राईट GL, सिरिनचा SCR, टायरोसिन अँड लाईकवाईज. एक पण जर सिक्वेन्स जर चेंज झाला स्ट्रक्चर काय होतो? बदलतो. Any change in the sequence of amino results in a different protein. एक पण sequence जर change झाला तर protein बदलतो. Primary structure of protein is represented by writing the 3-letter symbols of amino acid residue as per their sequence in the concerned protein. So, how it is written? It is written by the three-letter symbol. For example, for alanine, the three-letter symbol is ALA. तर आपण कसं लिहितो ALA आणि ते स्ट्रक्चर्स कसे सेपरेट करतात बाय अ डॅश. एक टर्मिनल असतो एन टर्मिनल म्हणजे अमायनो टर्मिनल आणि दुसरा असतो सी टर्मिनल. ओके, which is on the left hand side of the structure. So this was about the primary structure of protein. Now what is denaturation of protein? Protein denature झाला म्हणजे काय? This question can also come for 2 marks. What is denaturation of protein is, denaturation, students, is the process by which the molecular shape of protein changes. The shape, entire shape of the protein changes without breaking the amide peptide bond that forms the primary structure. And त्याचा structure काही change होत नाही, but what is happening is denaturation is the process by which the molecular shape of the protein changes. For example, coagulation of egg. Okay, high temperature, acid base, and even agitation can disturb the non-covalent interactions responsible for a specific shape of protein. This is called as the denaturation of protein. Okay, so this causes change in the properties of protein, and the biological activity is also often lost due to denaturation. Okay, now we move on to yet another biomolecule, that is enzymes. Now what are enzymes? Okay, you know enzymes are good catalysts, right? And chemically enzymes are nothing but they are proteins. Okay, a very large number of chemical reaction takes place in our body. There are different chemical reactions that are taking place in our body at about different physiological pHs, right? And the body temperature of exactly 370 degree with the help of biological catalyst called as enzymes. Okay, so they are biological catalysts, and we can call it as chemically all enzymes are protein. Every living cell contains at least 1,000 different enzymes, and most enzymes catalyze only one reaction or one group of similar reaction. Thus, enzyme catalysis is highly specific, and a specific enzyme can act on a specific group only. Now we are going to study mechanism of enzyme catalysis. How does the enzyme catalysis takes place? This is the exact structure. Before that, we'll learn some points. Action of an enzyme on a substrate is described as lock and key mechanism. Accordingly, enzyme has an active site on its surface. See, this is your enzyme. The yellow thing which you can see, the diagram is there in your textbook also. This is your enzyme. And the upper portion is the substrate. Enzyme will have a active site on it. Okay? And the substrate fits in the enzyme just the way a lock and key fits each other. So this is also known as lock and key model. So enzyme has an active site, and the substrate will go and bind on that particular active site. A substrate molecule can attack to its active site only if it has the right size and shape. So only if the size and shape of the substrate is exactly which matches the active site of the enzyme, then only it can bind like a lock and key. Once in the active site, the substrate is held in the correct orientation to react and forms the product of the reaction. Once it binds in that particular position, see here it is bound, and what now it will give you a product, and this particular structure is known as enzyme substrate complex. Okay. Once in the active site, the substance is held in the correct orientation to react and form the product of the reaction. So once it binds, what you will have the exact structure. The substrate will go and bind in the enzyme, and it will form enzyme substrate complex. That is how the rate of reaction is very high, Some enzymes are so efficient that one enzyme molecule can catalyze the reaction of thousand substrate molecule in 1 second. So this is the enzyme substrate mechanism. Now we move on to the last part. In many industrial processes, specific reactions are carried out using enzymes, and there are many enzymes which are being derived. Several enzymes has been isolated from organisms like bacteria. They are purified, crystallized, and you can use it. Right. The last thing we are going to talk about today, a last biomolecule which we are going to talk is nucleic acid. Okay. Now what are nucleic acid? See students, one of the most remarkable properties of living cell is it has the ability to produce it replica to thousands of generation. And how this is possible? This is possible due to the genetic information it has. So there are two types of nucleic acid, that is RNA and DNA. You have already learned about RNA and DNA in biology, but here for this chapter you just have to remember some of the nucleotides, right? So there are two types of nucleic acid, that is RNA ribonucleic acid and DNA deoxyribonucleic acid. RNA are found mainly in the fluid of living cells, that is in the cytoplasm, while DNA are found primarily in the nuclei of living cell. So the last point we'll discuss today is about nucleotides. What are nucleotides? Nucleic acids are unbranched polymers of repeating monomers called nucleotides. In other words, we can say nucleic acids, they have a polynucleotide structure. DNA molecules contain several millions of nucleotides, whereas RNA contains few thousands students. So a nucleotide monomer consists of three important components, that is a monosaccharide, a nitrogen containing base, and a phosphate group. Three important components you need to remember: monosaccharide, nitrogen containing base, and phosphates. Now, in RNA, the sugar components of nucleotide unit is D-ribose, while in DNA is 2-deoxy D-ribose. These are the structures which are given in your textbook. D-ribose in RNA and 2-deoxy D-ribose in DNA. Okay. So total 5 nitrogens are present, containing bases are present in nucleic acid. 3 base with 1 ring, that is cytosine, uracil and thymine, are derived from the parent component, that is pyrimidine. And 2 bases with 2 rings, that is adenine and guanine, from the parent component purine, and they are designated by different letters. Uracil you have U, thymine you have T. So these are the structures of cysteine: uracil, thymine, adenine and guanine. Okay, so this was all about nucleic acid. Here in this chapter you have to emphasize more on carbohydrates, the classification, structure. Specifically you should know the structure of glucose, how does it get converted from Fisher's to Howard structure. Then you need to know what are enzymes, how are proteins classified, what are the types of proteins, and for nucleic acid, if you just do the introduction, that also is enough. Hope you all have understood.